Okay, great Gemara, guys. That's beautiful Gemara. We said yesterday that if a person goes ahead and uses iron bars and or bed pieces of bedpost which are not permitted for schach, we said if you go ahead and you mevatel them, then it works. If you're not mevatel them, it doesn't work. The Gemara had a question. The Gemara said, "L'chor, if it's a broken bed, then it's not makabel tum. It's not makabel tum. So what's wrong with it?" So the Gemara wanted to suggest one or two things. One, since it came from a broken bed, we have the Rav Ami Bar Tivyumi was geyser. Anything that comes from a kli, if you go ahead and use a broken kli, we won't let you use it because you may come to use the kli itself. Okay, that's what he said. And we also saw that he said, where did he see that from? You had a patch. The patch was less than 3 etzbois, so it couldn't be used by an ani. It's so small. It's not makabel tama. Yet he said you couldn't go ahead and use it. It'll be puzzle. Gemara gave another terror. It's speaking where the bed is still makabel tama. Why? Because it's speaking where you have the bedpost with 2 legs on it. So you could use it. You'd be able to use it as a putting it away from the wall and extend strings there. And since it has usage, it's makabel tuma. Since it's makabel tuma, so therefore it would be what it would be. This was the last picture we saw. Since it was something like this that was right through makabel tuma, so therefore since this you'd be able to go ahead and use it for that makabel tuma, you can't do it. So now we're revisiting that din. We're just closing up with a few, loose ends. Gufa. We're on Tes Zayin Amid Aleph. We're 1, 2, 4, 6 lines down. Gufa. Amar Avami Abar Tevyumi. Sichacha bebavlei kelim. If you go ahead and use schach, you're using bavlei kelim. You're using again kelim that are ripped. Psula, it's puzzle. Now my bavlei kelim. Amar Abaya. It's a swatch of cloth. She'emem sholish al sholish. It doesn't have 3 etzbois by 3 etzbois. So be'etzim, it's not makabel tuma. It has to be at least sholish by sholish to makabel tuma. But the leichazian, it's not seen by lo laniyim, not by poor people, v'lo lashirim. So l'chayra, that even nonetheless, you shouldn't use that for schach. Tiny kavasi dervami bar tevyumi, machtzela shifa v'shel gemi. You have a mat of these different materials. Shireha, if they're cut off, you have leftover material, and l'chayra now they're not makabel tuma. Even though it's nifsach from the shear of Kabbalah's Tumah, you shouldn't go ahead and use them for schach. That's where Ami Bat of Yumi's din. Even though now in this state it's not Makabal Tumah, and even though now it's cloth, it goes from the ground and you put it together, so it goes ahead and it checks the boxes for something that should be kosher for schach. Since it comes from something that wasn't kosher for schach, you can't use it. So apparently that would be a raya. However, if you have a big mat, that big mat is used for the purpose of schach. And therefore, since it's used for the purpose of schach, right? Ketana, ein mesachkin ba. But if it's small, a small mat, ein mesachkin ba. Okay, even that is makabel tumah, and you shouldn't use it. Let's see Rashi on this last point. Where am I getting feedback from? There you go. We left the place for you. Okay, you can close your thing so we don't get you back. Okay, great. Okay. We're joined by, just to see he's still alive. Look, here he is, in the flesh. See, Benji, there are some guys upstate who show up. See, Avrami, there are some guys upstate who show up. Okay, so Geshmak. So now you have, we're seeing Rashi. Gedoyel Mesachim, and the lav klihu, it's not a kli, the stomach is sichoch. It's not made for lying down. Guys, usually a mat that's lied down upon for its way for a zav, or it was kabel tumah from a zava. So therefore, you can't use that for schach. But such a big one, you're not going to use as a mattress. Memelas Mesachim ba. You could use it. So Rabbi said, "Afim mekabelas tuma ksava stama l'shchiva stama this v'shchiva v'klihu," and it's a kli. So here's the way we read the Gemara. It says And again, since it came from a shear of something that is mekabel tumah to a shear that's not mekabel tumah, you shouldn't use it for schach. Because it's not mekabel tumah, because it's made for covering. It's not made for lying down upon. Since it's not made for lying down upon, it's not mekabel tumah. Kitana, however, misaching about, because a small mat is made for lying down. Since it's made for lying down, it is mekabel tumah, and it grows from the ground. It's not good. Even a large one's mekabel tumah, and you shouldn't go ahead and use it because even a big one, a person will lie down upon. The last thing of the Mishnah, guys, was a chaytet begadish. The last thing of the Mishnah was hollowing out a haystack. So if you hollow out a haystack, l'chayr, it doesn't work. Now, take a look, guys, at page 50. Take a look at page 50, and we're going to look at the picture. This is Stam the haystack. A person hollows out a haystack. We said it doesn't work. Now, we're going to see him at CS, a case that does work, which is really, really a chiddush nifla. To me, is a chiddush nifla. Now, you would say the following. You would say that once you have the haystack and you're hollowing it out, it's going to be a problem of ta'aseh v'lo min asui, that you have to make the schach, you have to make the sukkah, and you're not making the sukkah. It's made because the covering's there already. The schach is there already. Listen to this chiddush nifla. What happens if between you and when you hollow out, between this over here and over here, there's a tefach. Over here, there's a tefach. In other words, the schach is covering an area that constitutes an oil. You hear this? The schach is going ahead and covering an area that constitutes an oil. If you dig down, if you hollow it out, that you have 10 tefachim, it's going to be a kosher sukkah. What's the difference? When it was full to the top, it wasn't schach. What is lashon schach, guys? It's covering something. This was never covering anything. On the other hand, when there's a space over there, so therefore it is covering that area. It's a chashava area. It's an oil. That area it is covering. So that covering is enough to be considered schach. You have to hollow down the walls. We said early in the Masechta, Shragi asked me a great question. Shragi asked me, why isn't when you go ahead and have a sukkah that's 10 tefachim low or 20 tefachim high, why can you be mamayed it, or why could you go ahead and lower it in the bottom or build in the space? Why would it be good? It's a problem of tasev limin asoi. So I answered him, tasev limin asoi is a din in the schach. It's not a din in the fanais. It's not a din in the walls. So we're going to see all of that today. Says the Gemara. Someone is go ahead and he's hollowing out a gadish. He's hollowing out a haystack. Amar Afuna loishanu that it's puzzle ain't a sukkah. Elash ain't sham chalul tefach b'meshach sheva. You don't have a chalul tefach with a distance of 7. Aval yesh sham chalul tefach b'meshach sheva, which 7 is the share of a sukkah. Harizeh sukkah. It's a good sukkah, and the condition that he put the gadish on top for a shade. Again, he put the gadish on top for shade. So here it is. You take a look on page 52. Page 52, you have 7 by 7. That's the share of the sukkah. It's there. The shame that you put the for this says you put a l'shem sail. It's there on top. In this case, it's going to be a kosher sukkah. Says Rashi, if you have there an empty space of a tefach, guys, oil who? It's an oil. Nimsa shem schach al oisei godish. Nimsa on that godish there's a shem schach. Why? It's covering an area that's hollow. It's covering something. And when you go ahead and dig from the bottom to the top, till you reach the airspace, the share of 10 tefachim, you're not making the schach, guys. It's already there. By hollowing out, all he's making is walls. That's Rashi. It's important Rashi to know. He says it openly. With the funais, we do not say tase v'loy mina asui. You do not say it. It's a din no in the schach. It would be the same din, guys, as a sukkah that's less than 10. The chokachba, and you went ahead and you hollowed out at the bottom. V'shlimil asara, and you completed the share of 10. Chidish nifla. Chidish nifla. Okay, back in the Gemara. So this was Rav Huna saying Pshat in Mishnah, right? Tanya Nami Hachi, we have a brisa that goes in substantial Rav Huda's din. Hachaytit begadish lashlei sukkah. Someone hollows out a gadish to make a sukkah. Or is a sukkah? It's a good sukkah. The Gemara, not tonight in a sukkah. 1 second, you just told me it's not a sukkah. How can you tell me it's a sukkah? Elolav shmami no. What do you hear? Here, kid Rav Huna. You hear like Rav Huna's din. Shmami no. What do you hear? If it's a chol tefach, it's a sukkah. If it's not a chol tefach, it's not a sukkah. With Rav Huna's din, we have a means of answering a parent's stira. We have a means of answering an apparent stira. Ikad the Romila Mirma, and there are those who Mirma who learn the swad as they learn the swad as a stira. Hachaytit begadish lasle sukkah. Someone who's hollowing out a gadish to make a sukkah. Ain't a sukkah. It's not a sukkah. It's tasav leimin asoi. Iva Tanya. We learned in the Brayso is a sukkah. How do you reconcile the two? So I'm Rav Huna like kasha. Kan b'sheyesham chol tefach. Where when is a sukkah where it has chol tefach? The Meshach Sheva with a hollowed out area of 7 by 7. Kan b'shein sham chol tefach. The Meshach Sheva, and that's where it's not a sukkah. So that would be a way. So there's no. The only difference is Rav Huna say it in Pshat na Mishnah, or it's Rav Huna said it to answer up a stira. But the chiddush does not change, and that if you have a tefach over there, it's covering the tefach. That Rashi Shita is that covering is considered schach because it's covering an area. Therefore, it's not a problem of tasal v'meyasoi. It's schach, and all the time the asli over here is in the walls, and there's no din of tasal v'meyasoi in the walls. Very geschmack. Okay, this is a very big Eruvin sugya. A very big Eruvin sugya. So we know by now that a wall, the middle wall is 10 tefachim, guys, right? We learned it out from Mara Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Kruvim. They were 10 over the Aron of the Kapairis, and Kadosh said that area. So we see Schach is over 10. That's a din in Sukkah. But we learned out from the Aron, it was 9 and 1 is 10. So we know the din of Mechitza is 10 tefachim. So Mechitza has to be 10 tefachim. Now, we also know there's a din of Lavud, guys. Lavud is anything less than 3. So if I have a wall, that's like this. I'm building up my sukkah, but I start from over here. If over here, this is a 7 and it's less than 3, so it's going to be connected to the ground, that will go ahead and give me a wall of 9.5. So if this is 7.5 and that's like 2 3/4 or 2.5, I'm going to have a wall using the halach of lavud that 3, an empty space can be closed in if it's a little less than what? Than 3 tefachim. So we're going to deal with a wall that's from the bottom to the top and a wall that's from the top to the bottom. Hamishal shel defanois. Mishal is lashon of shilshul, guys. It's lashon of coming down, something that comes down. V'amevin yavin. Hamishal shel defanois milmailo lemata. You go what from top to bottom. Im gevayim in aretz shleishet tefachim. If it's higher than 3, then psula. It's going to be puzzle. Why is it going to be puzzle? Because again, you don't have a wall. However, milmata lemaila, if it goes from below to above, from gevaya asar tefachim ksheira. So very good. There you go. You have the din. It's kosher. Rabbi Yossi Omer kishem shelemata lemaila asar tefachim kach milmaila lemata asar tefachim. Rabbi Yossi says a grace of chiddush. Rabbi Yossi says that if you have 10 tefachim in a wall, even if you start from the top to the bottom, if you're going to start from the top to the bottom, it's going to be what? A good sukkah. Page 53. Page 53, picture 181. Looks like a gazebo. He's going to hold. Yeah, this is going to hold. This is a good sukkah. He's going to hold. This is a good sukkah. He's going to hold. He's going to hold. This is a good sukkah. He doesn't care about that. He doesn't care. He holds mechitza tluya. Now, why if there's more than 3 tefachim is it possible? Look at Rashi. This is a din that comes up. We had it in Eruvin. You're making a wall from the top to the bottom. Says Rashi. It begins to weave the wall from the top of the schach, and he's going clapping to the bottom. He's starting from the top, going to the bottom. If you have more than shleishet tefachim, it's going to be possible. The hainu kadeshi is daker hagedi bebas roish, gedi and boikenba, that a gedi can go ahead and walk through it without bending his head. With the amr psula that we said it's possible. Okay. However, you begin weaving it from the bottom. Samach lekarka next to the karka. Umagbiya v'oilin, and it continues upwards. Once you get to the 10th tefachim mark, sheira. Even though it doesn't reach the schach. So if you start from top to bottom, guys, if this is going to be 10 tfachim, over here you're going to have a good sukkah. Over here you're going to have what? You're going to have a good sukkah. You're going to have a good sukkah. Rabbi Yossi says the huge chiddush. Rabbi Yossi disagrees. He says if you have a wall, it doesn't make a difference where it is, top to bottom. Now, what's the svar Rabbi Yossi? We're going to say a mechitza taluya. Now, I don't know why. I don't know why. We know there's a din, guys, of good asik mechitza. We discussed that mechitza going up. There's a din of good achas mechitza. It's going down. So it doesn't apparently the din that we're going to discuss does not coincide with the chazal of the Allah Mash Sinai of good asik and good achis. It doesn't seem to go because everyone holds of good achis. Why the Chachamim disagree? In other words, like Rabbi Yossi, guys, in this case where it's 10 going down, if you say good achis going down, it should be a good mechitza, right? If you have this, I'm going to say good achis going down, it should be good. For some reason we don't say that. I'm not exactly sure why. But we don't say that. Okay.
Does it have to do with the corner?
I don't know
because it's not a permanent.
No, but it's a wall. The ach is in the wall, not the schach. In other words, we extend walls. We if you have an edge of a building, it's a wall. You're going to put it up. It's a wall. Once this is 10th tefachim, it's considered Allah mechitza. Once the mechitza, we shouldn't care about the schach. It should go. You should go down all the way. Okay. Anyway, says the Gemara, my kamifli. That's the machlokes between Rabbi Yossi, who says 10 and down is good, and the Chacham who say it's not good. Masav a mechitza taluya, a suspended mechitza materes, a suspended mechitza kidmater a sukkah. That's Rabbi Yossi. Here you're dealing with a suspended mechitza, 10 tefachim above the ground, going down. Umasavar and the Chachamim hold. Umasavar and the Chachamim hold. Mechitza eina materes. The mechitza mataluya would not go ahead and matter. Okay, Tran Hasan, we went over there. Mishnah and Erevin. Okay, guys, here is the Metzias. I like the. Believe it or not, I like the Pirush Chai better on this, guys. You can see it? Guys, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, so you guys take a look. You have over here, you have a chatzar and a chatzar. Now, in order to carry from this chatzar to this chatzar, you'd have to make an Erev Chatzeres. You have a wall, and there's no hole in the wall, so you can't be mam'ar of the chatzar. You can make an Erev Chatzeres together. And you have a pit over here in this water. The halach is this guy can't take from water because he's going to be taking water from this guy. This guy can't take from the water because he's going to be taking water from this guy. In other words, you're going to be transferring from one chutz to another chutz on Shabbos, right? So therefore, that's a no-no. Therefore, that's a no-no. That's what he says. That's a no-no. Now, there's eitzes. What's the eitzah? To go ahead and put. You could either put this up to the water, in the water, as long as it's within the oigen of the water, and that's going to be, go ahead and do it. Now, this is a mechitza tluya, right? These are mechitzas tluyas, guys. So we're not really dividing the water. So that's the mitzias of the case. I like that better. The picture book is nicer in color, but it doesn't seem to give the view of that. I'll show you the picture just because you spent the $20 on it. But, so if you look at the picture book, on, for example, page 53.
That's why I'm going to finish Shas because I spent the money on it.
What?
That's why I'm going to finish Shas because I spent the
money on it.
Yeah,
you're going to finish Shas because you're determined. That's why. And you got a rush of Magid Shi who's going to take you through. I shouldn't do that. Okay, guys. So again, you see, it's a very nice picture, but it doesn't depict it going in so well. He's killing me. Okay, the serious nefesh for share. Let's go now. Says the Gemara again. So you have, guys, here you have what? You have mechitza tuluya in the pit now. Says the Gemara. Tran Hasam in Erevin. Bar shebein shtei chatzeros. You have a bar that's between two chatzeros. Ein mimalim mimenu b'Shabbos. You can't. Why can't you? Because since you didn't make an erev between them, one chatz on the other side, the water's going to go, it's sufficient in between, right? That's what we say in New Orleans, it's sufficient. It's going to go ahead and take her on this side and take her on this side. You're going to go ahead and take the water. Take out the word beim l'mayla. Beim lamata, whether you put the mechitza down near the water, beim mitoich oignai, or it's near the top, near the ogen, near the lip, but it's in the pit. there that would help. That would help. So apparently you're saying mechitza tuluya is going to help. We're going to view that mechitza if it's going down into the water, dividing the water, allowing you to take what? Water from both sides. Rav Shimon Gamliel says, Beis Shammai Yoimrim, that milmaila, Beis Shammai says that it's enough that it's above. Beis Hillel says, it's got to be closer to the water. So apparently over here, Beis Shammai is mekel and Beis Hillel is a machmir. Take a look at Tosfos. Beis Shammai Yoimrim milmala, uBeis Hillel Yoimrim milmata. Right, that Beis Hillel is the one who says it can be above, and he says it has to be low. Because again, this is not listed as one of the times that Beis Hillel is machmir or Beis Shammai. Guys, good. Bottom line is, what do you see? It's mechitza tluya. Rav Yehuda, loitei mechitza gedolim min hakaisel shebenayim. This mechitza should not be bigger than the kaisel shebenayim. He allows. Rabbi Yehuda says, guys, this alone is going to work. He says you don't even need. He says. This alone is going to work. This case alone, 231. This alone is going to work. The fact that you have a wall, the mechitza in here. Once we're being makel to say it's going to divide. This wall will divide the water. Rabbi Yehuda says you do not even need anything in the pit, even anything out of the pit, anything out of the pit like this. Even this wall that's out of the pit, right? This wall that is out of the pit will make the division. You don't need anything in the pit. He disagrees with Shimon Gamliel. He disagrees with the Tanakama. You do not need anything in the pit. Now, Amar Rabba Barachan Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yehuda b'shitas Rabbi Yosi Amra. Rabbi Yehuda, who said that the wall going across the top will help, was saying in the shita of Rabbi Yosi, the Amar mechitza tuluya materes. The mechitza tuluya is mater. It's mater. In other words, we're going to view that mechitza going across the top of the pit as if it's in the pit. That's a mechitza tluya, suspended mechitza. So Rabbi Yehuda, who said his din in Rabbi Yosi. So Rabbi Yosi said, guys, in our Mishnah Sukkah, that a wall of 10 tefachim, that you start from the top, it goes down. You'll view it as what? Going down the whole way. It'll be machsha the Sukkah, because mechitza tluya, a mechitza that's suspended. Shmei mechitza, who adin of a mechitza going across a pit dividing two chatzeros will go down in the water, and will view the water as separate. And on Shabbos, you would be able to go ahead and draw water in your respective rishuyos, in your respective chatzeros. Biggest chiddush. V'loihi. Now you understand it? V'loihi. It's not true. V'loihi. Loi Rabbi Yehuda Savalak Rabbi Yosi. Rabbi Yosi Savalak Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yosi, who said his din Sukkah, does not like Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda, who said his din by Shabbos, doesn't hold by Sukkah. Again, this din by a mechitza tluya by the pit is a Shabbos tikadin, and Rabbi Yosi clearly was saying it in a Sukkah tikadin, right? So he says no. Loi Rabbi Yehuda Savalak Rabbi Yosi. Rabbi Yosi Savalak Rabbi Yehuda. Loi Rabbi Yehuda Savalak Rabbi Yosi. Ad kan like Rabbi Yehuda Hasam Ela Beiruvei Chatzeros the Rabbanon. You know where Rabbi Yehuda was makel? By Erev Chatzeros the Rabbanon. Guys, we spoke this out of Erevin. Erevin, Shmuley Brunson calls it Erevin 101. I'm going to call it Erevin 102. Okay? Erevin 102. Guys, watch. Midaraisa, the only Issa of Eitzah is from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim, right? What are we worried about? What are we worried about in Erevin? We're worried you're going to carry from your house to your chutzner. So what? Because if I allow you to come from one Rishus to your house to the chutzner, which is a separate Rishus, you may come to go ahead and carrying Rishus HaRabim. And since I saw is the Malacha Garua, it's so easy to be over. We spoke out after Shabbos. There's no intrinsic change in the object itself. It's so easy to be over. No change in the object. Usually, Malachas, there's a change. You bake something, you cook something, you're changing something, right? You plow, you're changing the ground. There's no change. I carry the phone from here to here. It's the same phone, right? So they're machmir ma'oid. So now, the machmir from one cut to the same. So basically, it's all the Rabbanan. All these din are the Rabbanan. So maybe Rabbi Yehuda says this works since it's a din the Rabbanan. It's a din the Rabbanan. It's going to work. Mashenkin is sukkah. A sukkah is a din the Raisa. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So that's it says the Gemara. You're not locked into saying Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yosi hold the same thing. Loi Rabbi Yehuda savlak Rabbi Yosi. Ad kan like Rabbi Yehuda hasam el be'erev chatzeres the Rabbanan. Aval hachas sukkah der loi. Sukkah deraisa, he would agree. You need a wall from the bottom, and you don't say mechitza tluya shmei mechitza. You don't say mechitza that's suspended is a good mechitza. For loy Rabbi Yosi savlak Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yosi does not like Rabbi Yehuda. I can't like Rabbi Yosi hacha el b'sukkah the mitzvah say. It's a mitzvah say to build a sukkah. So therefore, mitzvah say to build a sukkah. Aval Shabbos, the Issa Skila, but Shabbos, which could lead to an Issa Skila. Again, this is only the Rabbanan, but it could lead to Issa Skila. Guys, what's the whole reason for Erevin? Is to go ahead and avoid the problem of one Rishus to another Rishus. Since you want to avoid that problem, maybe light. Good. So very good. So, you're not locked into saying they both hold the same. Vim Toima, if you're going to say, Maisa Shanasa B'tzipure. Now, we're going to have a Shabbos Tikadin. Guys, let's go over it again. Outside. Rabbi Yehuda said his din by Shabbos, that mechitza tluya. Rabbi Yossi said his din by Sukkot mechitza tluya. We wanted to say who then they both agree with each other. Says the Gemara, there's no reason to believe that. Ken sign Rabbi Yehuda was makel by Erev because it's the Rabbanon, but by Sukkah, which is the Raisa, he would be machmir. Rabbi Yossi would be makel by Sukkah because it's the mitzvah's essay. Mashen came which Erev Chatzeres, which is a lav that might lead to Chil Shabbos. The way I'm learning, doesn't agree. Now, what happens if I can show you a Maisa with Rabbi Yossi, which we go ahead and come onto the halacha wad of Mechitza Tuluya by Shabbos? Then you'd say Rabbi Yossi has to agree with Rabbi Yehuda. He only said it's by Sukkah. I'll show you a case where apparently he holds like by Shabbos also he said Mechitza Tuluya. What's the case? There was a case in the town of Tzipure. Who was the Rosh Hashiva of Tzipure? The Rav? Rabbi Yossi. Listen to this, guys. You'll remember it. They had a Sefer Torah in one house. The Beis Medrash, they need to bring it to the Beis Medrash. And they didn't make an Erev Chatzeres. So how in the world were you able to bring the Torah from the house? Rashi says, guys, they would keep the Torah in the house because of the Goyim. The Goyim would go to shul to burn down the Sefer Torah. So in order to avoid that, they would keep it, believe it or not, they would keep it in the house. This is the days before safes. They would keep it in the house. So they forgot to bring it from the house till the shul. Now they want to bring it from the house to the shul. So what did they do? They took sheets and they had the sheets hanging on ropes. And the sheets were mechitzas tluya, they didn't reach the ground. And they permitted the carrying of what? The case was where the only place you would see was this. Here it is. See, they're going to spread the sheets over here, and they're going to carry it to the shul, from here to the shul. Good? So now, how are they allowing this? Al yedei mechitzas tluyos. This is a Shabbos Tikadin. In whose town? Rabbi Yossi's town. So you see, Rabbi Yossi did not only say his din by Sukkah, he also said his din by Shabbos. So he must agree with Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda said the din by Shabbos by the mechitza going over the bar. Rabbi Yossi by allowing to carry the Sefer Torah from the shul to the house, and he's allowing mechitza tluya. So don't say that Rabbi Yossi doesn't know like Rabbi Yehuda. He does. And for the Gemara, Rabbi Yossi was nifta already. The one who mativ was Shmuel Rabbi Yossi was his son. Okay, let's see it inside. Says the Gemara, Vim Taimar, if you're going to say, and I'll prove to you that Yossi holds by Shabbos that mechitza tluya does work. Maisa shenase b'tzipurei alpim minase le'alpi Rabbi Yossi. Says the Gemara, LLP Rabbi Yishmael Rabbi Yossi. Umay Maisa, what was the Maisa? Chiyas Rav Dimi Omar Pamachas Shacho. One time they forgot. V'le'yaviu Sefer Torah may have Shabbos. They didn't bring a Sefer Torah to shul. They have Shabbos. L'macha the next day. Pirsu Sadinim Al Gabe Amudim. They spread the sheets on top of pillars. They view a Sefer Torah v'karu by Fred Gemara Pirsu Salkadaitach. They wouldn't carry without an Erev Chatzeris sheets into the Chatzar. It says Mehecha view b'Shabbos. Elamatsu Sadinim Prusim Al Gabe Amudim. They found these Sadinim. They were already there before Shabbos. They're not a mechitza. No, mechitza tluya shmei mechitza. They view Sefer Torah v'karu by. Now, the kasha was, who do we think this was? Rabbi Yossi. So you see, Rabbi Yossi holds mechitza tluya even by Shabbos. No, it was Shmuel Rabbi Yossi, not Rabbi Yossi. Very geschmack. So we hold off of it. Yes,
Rabbi, real quick. We do an Erev just with the string. We don't need the sheets.
The Erev, that's a different din. That Erev, that's a din usually of Tzuras HaPesach. You're connecting it to poles and a string across the top of the poles. That has the din of pitikra. We don't put any mechitza there. That we view it's an invisible wall that descends down. That's called a mechitza ma'al yasa.
That doesn't work in this case here. Just the line.
No, there's no tzuras at Pesach. You don't have two tzuras at Pesach. You need two poles on the side with a string going across the top, or wood going across the top. Here, nothing to do with that. But it's a good question.
They made this on Shabbos?
What?
They made this on Shabbos?
It was there already before Shabbos. It was there before Shabbos. They just
the sheets were there.
It was there before Shabbos. But the heta was they paskin that at a din of a mechitza.
But mechitza was made before Shabbos.
Again, no. The sheets were there before Shabbos. They were hanging. How do you notice it's in the mechitza? It's hanging above the ground, Aryeh. It's above 3 tefachim above the ground.
That was made before Shabbos.
It was made before Shabbos.
Okay, fine.
But you see that only Rabbi Shmuel mated this. Rabbi Yossi would have mated this. Based on understanding, would have mated this. He would have said mechitza tfluya lo yishmei mechitza. That's the chiddush. Again, it's not the making of it; it's the psak about it. You good?
I thought they made it on Shabbos and the psak. I know, but I thought they made it on Shabbos.
No. The main thing is the psak. They didn't make it on Shabbos. They found it there. Matzu. Look at the lashon of the Gemara. It said.
I know they found the sheets there. They found
sadinim that was spread on Gabi Amudim. They didn't make it. Okay. So now, the last few dinim are just little dinim to show that you don't need 10 tefachim. As long as using the din of lavud, we'll be able to put a 7.5 in the middle with a 3 and a 3. Look at this. Look at this picture. It's a cute picture. If you have, guys, look at picture number, page 54. If you have this picture, it's going to permit. Take a look. Yeah, I'm going to go to this. Okay, this is the next picture. Okay, fine. Says the Gemara. Let's go through it to finish up. Amar Rav Chisda, Amar Avimi. Machzelis arba'a umashahu. You have a mat that's 4 and a bit. Materes besukkah mishum doifin. It's going to be mata in the sukkah mishum doifin. Now, guys, what do you need? You need 10 tefachim, right? Guys, you need 10 tefachim. If I have a 4 and a bit, right? So it's going to be with less than 3 above, less than 3 below. So I'm going to say love it to the top and love it to the bottom. You're going to have 10 tefachim. Using the din of love it. Since this is a little more than 4, so I only need a little more than 6, less than 6, right? So a little less there, we're going to say love it. Hechi avid, tali le be'emtza, suspended in the middle, pachas mishloisha lemata, upachas mishloisha lemayla, v'chol pachas mishloisha kilavadami. And anything that's less than 3, I'm going to say love it. Guys, good? Says more pshita. We know love it. We know love it by now. Says no, ma'u de tema, chad love it amrinon, trey love it loy amrinon. I might say you say one love in one direction, but 2 directions, no. Kamash malon, you even say love it in 2 directions. Meisave, machzelis shivu mashu, materes besukah mishum doifin. 7 and a bit will masa. Mashma, you need 7 and a bit. In other words, 7 and a bit will be less than, you put it on the bottom. Now you have less than 3 and a bit to the top. Mashma, you say love in only one direction. Kitanyahi besukah g'dayla. That was speaking about a big sukkah when you need 7, because it's much higher. Well, my kamashmalon, the mishalshin the funnest milmayla lamata. The chiddush is that you're going to go ahead and lower from what? From top to bottom. There you go. Amravami, pas arbo mashu, mata besukah mishum doifin. So here, this is a nice picture over here. There you go. You got a pas over here that's 4 and a mashu. You're going to put it over here. It's going to pass mashu. You only need 7 tefachim, guys, right? You only need 7 tefachim for the wall. So if this is 4 and a bit, this is less than 3 and a bit, you're going to have out of sukkah. You're going to have a good wall because it's going to, using then a love it to the wall, you're going to be good. So what do you do? Mata b'sukim mishum doifin. Umukmi lo b'pachas mishleshet tefachim samach l'doifin. Put it within 3, or less than 3, next to the wall. V'chol pachas mishlesh samach l'doifin k'lav adami. My kamash malon. That we say lavid hakamash malon. Shem eshech sukkah is ketana shiva. You're telling us the chiddush is that the share of a sukkah is sheva. We had a machloikis, whether it's 6, whether it's 7. Beis Hillel said 6, Beis Shammai said 7, and Rabbi said 4 amis. Kamash malon, the share is like Beis Shammai, in this case, 7 tefachim. Okay, tomorrow night, Bez Hashem, we'll be broadcasting somewhere probably between 10 and 10:15. I will let you know. Thank you very much. Everyone should have a great Shabbos and enjoy wherever you are.
Shabbos.
Enjoy all.
Good job.